All right, so we're doing our stream when we do every Saturday, and I guess Monday as well. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed the Dead by Daylight video I did. I kept alluding to it for about a week or two, and I finally got around to actually recording it and putting. Well, I already had the recording of the footage because that match was from a couple of weeks ago, like at the start of the month. So I just put both of the matches into my editor and then recorded audio over it. So I hope you guys like that. I want to know if people actually want to sequel that because I do have other matches I've recorded. I just again there has to be some kind of liking for that kind of stuff to generate making more of it. So and I was content fairly with the views that were on it because it was like 60 or 70, which is much better than like your average political video. So it's not really an issue of views, just if people want it. That's the only thing that causes me to make more of that. Play with your friends more often. Yeah, I don't really like playing with randoms on that game because they a lot of times when matches are lost, it's because people just waste time. Like if I just start recording every match I do, I could show proof where you'll do a generator, and then maybe somebody else being chased by the killer, and then you'll have one or two other people who literally just stand behind you or just are doing this, even though the killer's nowhere around them. They're just that's why I don't really like the issue with the friendless thing is that if people play with you enough, you start to really hate playing with random people because you know what people who actually are trying to win look like. Because my friend list spoiled me. I remember there's this one person, and they were in that video that daughter got person that them and this other user who I guess their boyfriend and girlfriend with or something. They come with a key. So what that means is that instead of having to do all 5 generators to leave, if you find the hatch after the second to last generator is done, you can go through there instead of actually finishing the generators. And there were at least 3 or 4 matches. I didn't record them because I didn't expect to end the game this way, where the killer gets one person and then I follow one of them to the hatch and they open it up and like all the other after you kill that one person, all the other players just vanish from the level. I see we got our troll very early into the stream. Hey, look, I'm not interested in doing a recap or a part 2 to that clown show on Monday. So if you're gonna write some more stuff about being naked and all the rest of that, you can leave. I'm not looking forward to that. Like actually, we were gonna talk about your buddy that showed up because we found out some pretty interesting stuff this week about that person. What are you talking about? I am agreeing with you. No, we know what you wrote on Monday. He needs to change. Anyone who wants to know matter of fact, I'm gonna link the stream. Let me go over there. Now just go on the channel, type in what was the point, and then you'll see where Naya Zine said that I needed to change, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then he stuck on my stream for a whole hour. Oh, that's very ironic. Again, I'm waiting for a few more people to get here, and then we'll expose that other person. I told you it's crazy. Like on this website, if you just go on it and look places, you can find things that are really interesting. Like when I had the chameleon person, I didn't get any notification from YouTube that person was re-uploading my stuff. I just typed in my own videos and it was like, anybody else talking about this? Like, oh my god, it's funny. Like if you just snoop around, you find stuff that's really interesting. Now we got to talk about a rat later on. I'm just waiting for a few more people, then we can get into it. Yeah, if I do another one, it'll be this week. It won't take as long to do that as an edit video because I don't have to write a script or anything. I just record the matches, put them on mute, and then record over it. So if I do another one of those, it can be done in like a day or two, or even shorter than that. That guy really tried to copy you. He's not the only one. That's not the first time somebody re-uploaded my stuff, and the other person was much nicer and like used to actually hang out on my channel. But I said to him, I was like, what is the point of re-uploading something that is still on the site that hasn't been made private or deleted or anything? Like, what? I don't get the purpose of that. So how do the killers find you? Well, some people are really dumb. Like they will just run to like a generator and then they leave the scratch marks so you can see if they've been over there or not. Um, Other times, like when I was playing that match against Pig in that video, I was just over there and they saw me when I was trying to sneak around. I don't care about stealing looks. I don't own copyright on looks. I don't like when you make something and then somebody else tries to take it and not give you credit for doing it. I think that's really nasty and disgusting. It was just his profile picture. No, they're real dirty like that. I do think people on this website believe they're smarter than they actually are. Just like with some of the stuff they write and what they do, it doesn't really correlate with each other. So one person asked me, "Are you going to get the console version or the PC version?" I haven't used my PC in over a year. That thing has been disconnected for a while. No, that stuff with the hatch was funny because they wait for that one person to die, and then they find it, and then they all jump at the same time. Because in matches with random people, they just worry about saving themselves. Uh, like I actually had one match where somebody had a key and they open the hatch and it closes right after they go through it. But with those same two players every match, one person ends up dying and the other three jump through there. I thought that was funny. The killer's like, I'm gonna get all of you, and then they only get 25% because somebody came in there with a key. Yeah, I'll never understand the purpose of re-uploading something that's still in the original place it was uploaded at. I know this one person, they have like an archive where they keep videos of this politician they like, but that still isn't the same because those videos are private. And they're like, it's like a safekeeping thing in the event that, like let's say um, one of those news channels gets rid of a video or something like that. It's to have it all in one place. They're not trying to like siphon off views and they say, hey, this is an interview with this person or with this outlet, so it still isn't the same. Looks like Brandon went to sleep. He vanished. Akatsuki Merchant left 2 comments, and he went the way of the shinobi and went to another village, aka another stream. I had this one person I've been trying to talk to about because they're like a really big fan of Naruto, and I mentioned before I just finished reading Shippuden about a week ago, so I'm trying to get in a conversation with them because they're a much bigger fan of it than I am. Like I always say, part one I think is really good, solid. Part two, talk about tonight. I don't know what time zone you're in, but it's morning over here. Unless you think I'm gonna do a what's 7 8 hour stream. I gotta make sure I keep a copy of that comment you wrote. Water under the bridges, man. Because this same person really did get me to think. Okay, it's water under the bridge, and then they went right back to their ways. Real scumbag stuff. Learn to forgive. I mean, if I didn't forgive, wouldn't you have been blocked or banned already? Like you guys are allowed on this channel to run your mouths for quite a while without me retaliating in that manner. Because I really do try to see if you'll actually start talking normal or making sense. But if I didn't forgive, you would have been banned after that stream. Welcome to the internet where everyone is an expert. Yeah. Brennan said, is he really? Was the guy really a Naruto fan? He said he thinks part two is good. I said, well so I like some parts of it, but overall, no. Look at Eurodollar showing up early for once. Oh, James, remember during okay, so the stream on Monday, I want you to I want to see if you remember when you told the guy you're not going or you're not going to leave, laugh my whatever, and then he said, "Watch me." You remember that? Because that's very important to what is going to be revealed. And we're also going to show how sometimes not blocking or deleting people pays off because this person really did almost get away with their nonsense. Let me go and find that video. Where is it? Oh, Travis, right? LOL. I remember that person. You should move on. I mean, aren't you the same guys who apparently don't like things about me, but then instead of moving on and watching other people, keep coming back to me? Like, how does that work? You should not be allowed to talk about something from a few days ago, but I should be allowed to tell you what you can and can't talk about after a certain amount of time has passed. Yeah, my point being that it doesn't make sense where someone can criticize me for stuff that is a week old, a month old, a year ago, several years ago. But then I'm supposed to not be able to address something that happened on Monday. Oh, Euro, he's a guy that originated on my other stream asking about my attire and then just started writing all kind of random weird stuff saying that he was naked watching me and all this, weird homoerotic crap. And then after claiming that all this bad stuff about me on Monday showed up again. It's not like this happened a year ago. This was literally a couple of days. Yeah. And now, if you don't like that this is getting brought up again, you can just go watch somebody else. Like nobody makes you sit here and listen to something you don't want to listen to. I don't know what is wrong with people on this website. Like if I do a political video and someone doesn't want to listen to it, you know what they do? They don't watch it. They don't go, this again? Oh, I know they're not going to leave. But it's ironic because on Monday, when you told that guy you're not going to leave and he said, watch me, we found out that even though he might have left that particular stream after he said he was going to leave, he has been lurking on this channel since March, at least, if not before that. That's why it was ironic, because you would think someone who would claim, oh my God, you guys talk about the same thing every week, would go watch someone who talks about something else, even though it's BS, because I do videos about the news, all kind of other stuff. We even had a Dragon Ball discussion last Saturday. So, it's ridiculous to even claim this is somewhere where only one topic is always addressed. But you say that, and then we have proof that you've been sticking around on here month after month for most of the year. No, it's in the title. I don't know why they can't just leave. That's why when people start saying that stuff about, oh, your censorance might be banned, it's like, I asked them politely, if you either engage on what's being discussed or just go, and they refuse to leave. So then when you end up having to, do that, oh, my free speech, I'm being censored. Imagine how insane I would look if, let's say, like a woman was streaming, right? And I go on her stream, I'm like, do you wear anything else? And then as she continues to talk about whatever she's talking, I'm like, I want you and I'm naked right now. Dude, I would get a harassment claim in less than 2 seconds. But when a man writes that stuff to me, somehow I'm supposed to put up with that. That makes sense to people. Like, to do a stream, you are supposed to put up with someone talking about things that have nothing to do with the points that are being conveyed, and saying they don't care about the points being made as they sit there and listen to the points that are being conveyed. Oh my God. LOL, you're gone at that point. Yeah, dude. That's why I said that. Like, I call it. He tried to say that that I say that people who disagree with me are like gay or whatever, but it's really you writing things that have this like weird erotic overtone to them toward another man. And like I said, nobody would put up with this or be expected, like be reasonably expected to enjoy or find that appealing. Also, there's a lot of noises, so if you can hear that, I apologize. That's the crucible of having to live with other people. You can never just leave and go do their own thing. They have to be around every 5 seconds and talk very loud. No, I would have been yanked. The only thing I might have been able to write was that first one about like, do you wear other stuff? And then after that, I would have been gone. All right, we got 4 people. We might as well do this. I'm not about to sit up here all day. Back in, what was this, March? Yeah, it was March. I did a video. It was called Romance, the New N-Word. And the video was about how people call other people the I word. And you even have some men that identify as part of that group. And how I was saying that it reminds me of the N-word because it's a term that whenever it's used by people who don't consider themselves part of the group, it's usually in an offensive manner. And then you actually have people who are surprised that you don't want to be identified with the word that every time it's used by people who aren't part of the group, it's negative. It's considered a bad thing. So after I do this video and I publish it, I have, like Megumi writes a comment, somebody else writes a comment. And this guy, who at the time calls himself Tony, says, "And your complaining continues." I'm not going to read everything he writes, but he basically writes 2, 3, 4 paragraphs worth of stuff about me. If you were to like take all of it and put it in Google Docs. And he gets in an argument with this user where he says, "LOL, you can wallow in a pool of self-loathing with him all you want," inferring that he's going to not watch me after this because I self-loathe. And when he's asked to give examples of this, he doesn't. So that same week, I do a stream on Saturday talking about the ridiculous stuff this guy typed. And then he shows up on that stream and, starts to like backtrack a bit and go, "Oh, I didn't mean this. I'm trying not to get banned, blah, 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 blah." But it appears that this person is attempting to like reconcile or resolve their conflict with me, their one-sided conflict, because I've never interacted with this person to my knowledge and haven't done anything to them. They just get angry and they write these nasty comments to people they've never met before, because that's what normal people do. So he shows up on like 4 or 5 different streams after this. I'd have to go through and check each one, but it's at least 4 other times after this. And then, like disappears for a while. So this last on Monday, excuse me, there's a user calling himself Trevor S. And this user like writes some comment about, "It doesn't look like you shower. It's so easy to see why you don't get chicks. Anyways, peace. Keep crying about not getting women." This is when James says, "You'll come back next week." And then Trevor says, "LOL, James, watch me, peace." So at the time, I think, okay, it's just a random, guy that, and the thing is, when you're not a big channel, right? This is how people don't understand the internet works. Most people don't leave comments on videos they watch. So that means that the pool of trolls on any given website is very small. And if you're a small content creator, that means it's even smaller. But again, when I see this person, I don't think much of them. I just, it's just probably some random person writing weird stuff. So yesterday, I'm on my channel. I go to my video because I'm trying to see if like a new comment, because when people leave comments on older stuff, sometimes respond to another person, I don't immediately see it because it's left to a comment from months ago. I go on that video and I didn't delete Tony's comments because I thought they were really goofy and I wanted my subscribers to go back and laugh at them if they wanted to, just like, here's this man who is so enraged that another man made a video about something or like talks about chicks. Like he's more upset about this man's love life than chicks are because that's what straight men do. And I go to look at Tony's comments and I see that his name has changed to Trevor S. And I said, wait a second. So that means that lunatic that came on my stream on Monday, claiming that they were going to leave, right? That you keep crying about not getting with women. Oh, it's so easy to see. Like this same person who said they were going to stop watching me has failed to stop watching me over a not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, 6-month period. Yeah, people online are so weird. They do stuff that normal people in real life just don't do. Laugh my dude really had to do that. I really don't understand. So this is why I call them. Well, look, I was going to say it's Romance Aficionado Tony, and that's the acronym for that is RAT. This person seemingly resolved their conflict with me in March, right? Where they stuck around on multiple streams just so they could disappear for a little bit, change their username, and come back and troll on the same account. Yeah, I remember who that is. Oh, I got name wrong. It was Trevor, and damn, he actually changed his name. Yeah, but this is why when this guy was talking about learn to forgive him, like this, when he wrote the "Oh, your complaining continues" comment, I could have just banned him there. Like, if you weren't forgiving, you wouldn't have the ability to still post weird comments on my channel and have character art. And also, let me say this. So, since he doesn't know if he's Tony or if he's Trevor, we're going to give him a new name. If you've ever seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2003 series, that's my favorite one, by the way. There's a character in that show called Karai, and she's the apprentice of Shredder. And a lot of people were irritated with that character because sometimes she's with Shredder, sometimes she works with the Turtles, then she works with Shredder, just like keeps flip flopping. This guy is literally the YouTube equivalent of Karai. I'm gonna come on your stream. I'm gonna come on your video, write nasty comments about you. I'm gonna come on your stream and act nice toward you, and I'm gonna be on a few more streams, act nice toward you, and now I'm a villain again. Like, he's Karai in real life. All right, well, not real life, but on the internet, that's what he is. What about that Rosin chick or Raisin? How do you pronounce that person's name? I don't know. But like I said, when people on here have a problem with you, don't ever acquiesce to them, because even if you have a dialogue with that person where you listen to them, where you address what they say, and they pretend like, oh, we're in a better place at this point, they will just come back and do something like this. That person is actually, I mean, I know that like chicks don't usually show up on this stuff anyway, so I didn't doubt that that was a guy. I'm not usually opposed to having them on here, but I know that most of the people that watch this stuff are men, so it doesn't surprise me that one of the few chicks that came on here, especially like more than once, was a guy. That's not shocking. I didn't know which guy, but it's not like whatever. No, that dude is Karai. Don't know if he's loyal to the Turtles or the Foot Clan. But James, it was ironic to like remember that comment of "Watch me, peace," as if he was really leaving, and then you find out that he hasn't left or like stopped watching me since March. Again, if you don't see the irony of that, I can't help you. That is really disturbing. Like, people can't just leave someone alone. There was a guy, I mentioned the story before a couple of times, who it was like late 2019, made a video I really despised about this congressperson, and he had information that was wrong. He was talking about some affair that they were apparently have. I really didn't like the video because it had information that was factually incorrect, and there was a lot of like slanderous, nasty stuff written about these people. And I stopped watching him after watching him for, I think it was like 3 years after the video came out, and it's been over almost 2 years. Still, I've never gone back to his channel, and he's several times bigger than me. He had like 5,000, 6,000 subs when I used to watch him. My point being is that it's really not hard to stop watching somebody on this site, which is why it's all the more disturbing to me that I have a person who concludes in March, you always say this, so repetitive, but then they keep coming back month after month. They love to lie to themselves. Yeah, romance aficionado Tony / romance aficionado Trevor, aka Rat. I really hope he doesn't show up again. Why is it so hard to just go away? Like, you write all this gross stuff about somebody, and then the next time they stream, here you are. Hey, you saw where the great Nia Zine last Monday was like, you need to change. Apparently I don't. Me being how I am caused you to show up on 2 consecutive streams. A dirty rodent that will never leave. I just don't see the point of a lot of this stuff. It's like you start a conflict with someone you've never met before over content that you don't have to watch. Then when you apparently resolve it with that person, you show up on their streams several times over, I guess, trying to like getting good with them, and then you disappear just to come back with a different username to try messing with someone. I'm really glad I didn't delete those comments because they exposed who that really was. Same username, same no profile picture, green. Yeah, okay. I tell you, every time somebody complains about the romance stuff, I roll my eyes so much because it's like, and I'm not here to toot my own horn. I don't think there's anybody else that talks about this stuff that branches out so heavily into other topics or areas of interest that to sit here and act like the only thing that is addressed is romance stuff is insane. Like, and that's why I said these people are not actually upset about me covering that. They're just writing like random crap because someone who doesn't want to hear about romance stuff and like wants me to talk about something else gets that most of the week with the political videos. So I just think it's really comedic, that they try to like lump me in the box. You always talk. It's like I have other things to talk about. If you actually cared about what was being discussed here, you would realize that. I mentioned before there was a guy 3 years ago who wrote that I always talk about the like I should talk about something else, right? Because they act like I don't discuss other things, and I did a stream about Israel, and then he vanished. That's how you know these people are full of crap, and that they can claim to think this is like redundant and all the rest of that stuff, but if you didn't discuss this, they wouldn't watch. So they like it just as much as anybody else that's here regularly. Imagine me telling McDonald's they need to make something besides burgers. Then they make salad, I'll never buy it. They make lobster, never buy it. Again, they're just full of crap. They just pretend to actually want you to be this diverse topic discusser, and then when you discuss those other things, they don't show up because they're fake. A dirty rodent that will never leave. No, never. He might take a hiatus, like he didn't show up for like a month or two or a few weeks, but he'll always come back. Just keeps returning over and over. That's why the next romance video is probably gonna be the romance comic book. We got to just explain how they turn this into a comic. Like you need super abilities to get a date where they're talking about going to the gym every day and having an 8-pack, even though most people don't have that, and then becoming rich and all this. It's like all that just for like the basic civic ability to just go and eat with someone somewhere. You got recurring villains, these guys that write these nasty comments, and then after you say, "All right, I'm what you say I am now. Now go leave," they don't leave. I really thought that I did too until I went on my video from like just by happenstance. I went on my video from a few months ago and saw that because he didn't leave a comment on any other video besides that one, uh, and saw it was the same username. But I wasn't surprised with that because, like I said, when you're not a big channel, you don't like. If I had, let's say, 1,000 people watching me or 400, 500, right? Having two people show up and start writing nasty stuff is like you could believe is a coincidence. But if it's two people on like a stream where there's like less than 20 people watching, it's probably someone that has done that before. Yeah, we're all overjoyed that you returned. What a great day this is for us. No, we all thought that was someone else. I'm so glad I didn't delete those comments because if I didn't, I would still think that was someone else. But he made the slip. If he was trying to disguise himself, he made the slip up of leaving comments with the other account. Because YouTube used to have it to where you could click on someone's channel and it would link you to them, and now it doesn't. So could have gotten away with it if he hadn't run his mouth in that video in March. Came so close. I just think it's so sad that people really can't watch things they claim to enjoy. Like, yeah, I have multiple. Like, okay, no, nobody cares. This isn't even about having multiple accounts. It's about someone claiming to have resolved their issue with you and then still trying to mess with you after that by leaving rude, unnecessary comments that don't actually address what you're saying. And these people make doing a stream just so miserable. Like you come on here, you try to have 2 times a week where you do this at least, and then you've got 1 or 2 people writing weird stuff. No, you don't have an issue. You love it because if you did, you would go watch something else. So that proves my theory that they make different accounts and act like somebody. Hell, for all I know, can someone we know? I'm sure it is, man. I'm not like radically getting discovered by new people, so I wouldn't be surprised. There was this one guy on YouTube that was friends with another guy, and he left him after he said something insane during a stream about like committing violence towards people. And that guy came back to his channel and started leaving comments to him, like to where they rekindled their past friendship, I guess. And then all of a sudden, he has this other person who's claiming that he's a molester, and is like, "What in the world?" And then he finds out that that same guy that he supposedly rekindled things with has the same username and picture on Discord, that he like changed his name to that after he left his server. I'm just shocked about that raisin person because this was the same guy who was talking about his bad dating experience while at the same time blaming you for your. Like I said, man, these people just they have a problem with everybody. All they do is just have an issue. And you already know it's not new to have people blame me for this stuff because they actually think I'm Professor X or Jean Grey. I just use my telepathic powers to make people go on a date. They don't want to accept the idea that you can't make somebody like you because it doesn't fit the Disney narrative. If you keep working hard, random woman will show up and like you back, and you'll live happily ever after. Is anybody else enjoying this person? Like they're just writing weird stuff, just and it never stops. They showed up like 2 minutes into the stream and just kept writing and writing. Attraction is out of your control, so I don't know. Only thing you can do is be yourself. I tell you that, like, if a woman had a man that said he wasn't interested in her, nobody would say, "You probably did this. You probably did that. You need to work on yourself for this man." But when you're a man, it's your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. And what's so funny? These people who are harassing you are not in relationships themselves. Yeah, that's the elephant in the room. Not a single one of them has ever proved that they're with anybody. Dude, like imagine if you had a girlfriend and you like sit on YouTube watching videos by someone who doesn't have one and like talks about like just that premise alone doesn't make any sense. I don't know Akatsuki Merchant. I'm letting them write. Hmm. You can choose to approach someone you find attractive, but that's it. No, according to them, you're supposed to be able to use your telepathic powers to make them like you too. Please do that. I'll be along in an hour. No, you're not. Stop lying. I like how Brandon said how and then no explanation. Just let me completely sidestep that. Because you know that other one did the same thing to Tina when she asked him, like, where do I self-loathe? And he just went into a tangent of all this other stuff. Like they never, anytime they make a point, they never expand on it to actually get you to understand what they're talking about. Like, um, oh, let me scroll up a little bit. With that Tony guy, he said, "Oh, I don't take any responsibility for anything," and then says that the Discord situation, for example, like he cites this incident where asking someone what their interest is apparently is like trying to get with them on that website, but it doesn't explain how it's my fault that someone thinks a thing that the whole stream agreed is like a very innocent, basic question to ask somebody you're trying to get to know. You know, how that like would be construed as a romantic endeavor or something that shows you're interested in another person in that manner. You know what I'm saying? Of how they always they can cite something, but they can never actually explain the basis for believing it. Please stay gone and never come back. We need him to end up like Super Boo. Remember how that's the only form of Boo that just can't be formed again because like you can wish back Kid Boo, but you can't wish back Super Boo apparently because he like melted into Kid Boo. Like he's really one of the few villains that is gone forever. We need that with him on the channel, just gone for good. Dude, all these guys that like keep showing up over and over really do make it the romance comic book. Like I can think of at least 5 or 6 times where it's been some guy or in one case a woman that didn't like my stuff and they just keep coming back. Like, you know, I always like usually the impetus for me not to ban someone is on the assumption that after that time they write that comment, that's it, they're never coming on my channel and they won't go. And that's gonna be on your Christmas wish list, Akatsuki merchant. Please, Santa, please keep him gone, never come back. Oh my god. Oh, was it you that wrote the comment where after he was like, "Do you wear anything else?" And you said, "Who goes up to random people and is like, how many times have you worn that?" Was that you, Akatsuki merchant? No point banning them anyway, since they'll come back with the channel. No, there is a point in banning them because I mean, if you don't want to put up with someone's stuff, it you just get tired of it. I like how they switched it. Like before I did streams, they would only ever write nasty comments on videos, and now they almost never write. Like if I get a nasty comments on political video, like you almost never see any nasty comments on any videos about like the romance stuff anymore because they know I don't respond to them anyway. So James, we're just supposed to like sit here and they can write all kind of gross stuff about you and you can't do anything. Oh yeah, I might do a video about that censorship BS that these people have been peddling, right? Where they actually have been showing that they don't want there to be any rules on free speech. Like they want you to be able to come on here and say whatever you want. And then a lot of the people that peddle that stuff are hypocrites by their own design. Like, I know one guy that talks about how censorship is so bad, but then I have proof that he banned somebody on his channel and that he blocks people on Twitter. And I'm like, again, if they're irritating you, if they're annoying you, if they keep screwing, I completely understand. But don't sit here and act like we're supposed to just put up with this stuff forever. Like, just because we're content creators, we're not allowed to ever get sick of this. Like I said, if I went on some women's stream and start talking about, I wonder what other outfits you wear and you need to change. And I'm sitting here naked, I would have been gotten rid of so quickly and probably would have been reported for harassment. By the way, there actually is a guy that does Dead by Daylight videos. And after he beat someone in the match, they called him an effing, it's another word that starts with an F and it's a slur against gay people. And he ended up reporting that person and they got banned from the site because they violated the guidelines of Xbox Live. People get so mad over games. Like, just. I'm glad mobile doesn't have a way for people to directly communicate with you, because they would do that on there too. Like, people get mad at the killer for trying to win. How dare you kill me? You guys think I'm kidding? They really get mad at the killer for trying to win the match. And then they write these weird comments to people. Yeah, your speech is totally being infringed. It's not like you can go write weird crap somewhere else. Imagine having a website with millions of channels, right? Because YouTube has millions of channels on it, and then you get banned from speaking on one channel out of those millions, right? A little drop in the bucket, and you're like, oh, my free speech. They really act like they don't have anywhere else to write stuff. Like, when Rand got his video removed from YouTube for spreading misinformation about COVID, he started saying, "Oh, my free speech, my free speech." But he was still able to post on Twitter. He was still able to post on this other website called Rumble. Like, if you didn't have free speech, how are you able to still convey what you believe on all these other different websites? And I encourage them, if they believe that social media is censoring them, then why don't they make their own site? Like, I thought Twitter was censoring me, so I don't use Twitter anymore, other than to like thumb up other people's stuff. It's just, I don't get these people. But that's why I had a person who said earlier this year that a lot of these guys really do not want there to be any rules on speech at all. They don't believe in laws. They don't believe in any regulation. They take this like really ridiculous position of, you should be able to say whatever you want with no consequence. And even if they don't directly say that, you still can infer it based off of like how every time any website or company takes action against what somebody had to say, they say it's censorship. So you should be able to say whatever you want. No right. And I'm gonna do a whole video about that, because I'm really sick of these people. Like, none of them ever explain their position and just have opposition to any time someone gets in trouble for saying something insane or breaking the laws of the sites that told them up front, you can't do this. Like, YouTube has rules about COVID misinformation. And since I want to stay on the site, I don't break those rules. And then people break those rules, their video gets deleted. Oh, I'm being censored. It's like, they told you not to break the rule to begin with. No, Banana, according to these damn people, I should be able, because remember how YouTube doesn't allow pornography? I should be able to do a stream naked. And if I get deleted for violating terms of service, my free speech, it's not like I can post that video on Pornhub, X Hamster, any of those other places. That's always the funniest part. Oh, I'm being censored. That's why I'm still able to say what I want on all these other different sites. Let me find that lady's comment. I want to just use this as an example. Where is it? Oh, I think somebody's coming. Let me stick this by the button. Uh, I think I might that the Rand video is where she left that comment. Okay, it's called Rand Paul spent on YouTube for a week. So my position was I didn't have a problem with him getting suspended because he violated the terms of service of the site that they told us up front when they updated last year for COVID misinformation. He's only unable to post a video for 1 week, which really is not that much time to not post on, and he can still post videos on Twitter and all these other websites. This person said only N95 masks are effective, but we can find them. Also, censorship always comes back to bite the entire population. And then they're asked by my moderator, so we should be able to say whatever we want, no matter how damaging to others, with no consequence. And no response, because they just have a position that anytime a website enforces a policy that has to do with getting rid of something somebody said, whether it's misinformation, whether it's libel towards another person, it's censorship automatically. You should be able to say whatever you want. Do the rules apply to news channels or just politicians? To everybody. Like if I make a video on why I believe masks are ineffective and here's proof of why the vaccine is going to turn you into an alligator, it's like that's misinformation. I'm going to use my free speech to cry about my free speech being infringed, even though I wouldn't be able to cry about it if I didn't have the right to begin with. Well, remember what the Discord snake said, right? I believe censorship anywhere will lead to the inevitable rise of censorship everywhere. So he even said that he believes free speech should have consequences, but then he also believes you should be able to make death threats to people without getting in trouble, even though the consequence to making death threats against other people is that you'll have the police or some other authority figures, rein in or check on you to see if these are legitimate or not. But one of the biggest reasons I stopped talking to that guy was I don't want to speak to someone who supports my harassment. Like, I could get rid of that Niazime person anytime I wanted to. I get rid of the other person anytime I wanted to. But under what he would like, because he doesn't stream, right? So he doesn't know what it's like. You should have a stream where people can write whatever nasty stuff they want about you that the other people watching are going to inevitably notice and like be directed to respond toward. And you should have no power to do anything about that. You should just be able to just do a stream and somebody can write all this nasty stuff about you and you just have to sit there and take it. Because according to him, you shouldn't have the right to block someone on one channel out of millions. I tell you, these people don't want there to be any rules on speech. I could make a video right now on one of my, let's say some just random person in the chat, right? Called this person is a predator. And if that video gets deleted for not having any evidence, for being damaging to you and your reputation as an individual, my free speech. I think that's really scary. People have convinced themselves that for this particular thing, right, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, that there should be no rules whatsoever on it at all. They have rules on guns. They have rules on just everything else. But, you want to say something that can hurt another person or cause damage? Oh, okay. Go ahead. I think is really crazy, though? It's like in real life, people have like rules when you go certain places. Like, for example, there was this one bar I used to see around my house where it was like if you came in, you had to wear a tie. You had to wear, like, I think it was black pants, dress shoes. And the idea is, yeah, you don't have to wear this stuff you don't want to, but then you can't come in here. Like, you can go anywhere else you want and wear what you'd like. But if you come here we have these specific, dress code rules you have to adhere to. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I don't see how that's any different from banning someone from a channel. It's like, you can go and write that stuff somewhere else, just can't write it here. But they keep crying, free speech, free speech, free speech. Yeah, I mean, in their world, you could slander someone's name, ruin their life, and not face any consequences for it. Yeah. And like I said, when these people are called to task on what specific position qualifies to you as being worthy of getting shut down over, they can never find an example. There are people who think that Trump shouldn't have been banned from Twitter after starting, propagating a violent coup that led to several people's deaths. But it's like they just don't care. They think you should be able to say whatever you want, no consequence at all. And even after Trump got banned on Twitter, guess what he's still able to do? Go and hold rallies where he speaks in front of large groups of people and it gets streamed all over the internet. Put out statements through his office and other organization like, oh, my free speech is censored because I'm not on Twitter anymore, even though I have all these other avenues to still talk. No, there needs to be an edited video about this called Censorship Crybabies, where we just talk about how these people don't believe there should be any rules on speech at all. And they'll take getting banned from an entire site is very different from being blocked from speaking on one channel. You know what I mean? Like, I am one channel. If I block somebody, they can still talk on all these other channels and watch my videos and pretty much do every single thing a non-block person can do except directly say something on my channel. And it's like they actually believe that, like, the reason that guy's stuff pissed me off so much, right, is that I'm given very few powers as a person on the internet to actually defend myself. And one of the few things I can do, right, is block somebody from being able to speak on my channel, not anybody else's channel, just my channel. And that's like too much for him not because it stops them from being able to use the website or watch my stuff. Oh, I believe any censorship will lead to the inevitable rise of more censorship. So he has to use this like weird long game overarching storyline to justify taking a very inconsequential in the grand scheme of things action by me of blocking someone on one channel out of millions and say, oh, this is going to lead to even more. So it's like, all right, then go away. And these are the same people who scream to the rooftops about personal responsibility up until it comes time for them to adhere to that principle. Then they discard that. Yeah. Just to give you like a good example of the hypocrisy, if you remember, Omar and Talib got banned from entering Israel, right? Because of different things they said that were critical of the Israeli government. And a lot of Republican politicians cheered Netanyahu on for doing that. And I was like, well, how is it that you guys are content with two government officials getting banned from entering a country, not because they threatened violence or actually did something to this country, but because they had an opinion that did not align with the current government? But then you're the same people who are saying it's censorship when you're not allowed to speak on one website on the internet. You know how crazy it is? Like, these two politicians got banned from entering a country, and that's not censorship. But getting banned from one website out of God knows how many is. And sometimes not even getting banned. They get one post, like, oh, I'm so censored. Oh, these congresswomen got banned from entering a country. Oh, who cares? You see what I mean? Personal responsibility for you, unfettered and unchecked freedom for them. Yeah. Hey, but I slipped up. Akatsuki Merchant, would you actually watch that video? Censorship crybabies? Because I think what just is so frustrating me about that, right, is you have people who don't when you don't believe there should be rules on something, it's like anarchy, like it's really dangerous in and of itself, like to not have rules on something. So for example, a lot of people will say they're censored because they had a different opinion, but we've had multiple streams where people disagreed with me. I remember James didn't agree with my assessment to pay, like a hooker to go on a date. I remember that like you were talking about the MCU being bad or something, like just different examples of people disagreeing, and they don't get banned because it's just a different opinion on a topic that it's just for entertainment, right, or like for some other thing. But when you come on someone's stream and you start insulting their appearance as they're talking about something, you start to accuse them of all these other like different things. Like, according to this guy, somebody should be able to come on my video, accuse me of plotting to molest a woman, which they have done before, by the way. And I shouldn't have any control over that. I shouldn't be able to ban that person. I shouldn't be able to report that person because then they're being censored. Yeah, I'd watch it. Even might collaborate if you want. No, I'm just saying that like they really believe there should not be any rules on free speech. No matter how damaging or libelous what is said by someone is to another person. I think that's very scary, and that is part of the reason why I don't like a lot of people on the computer because they don't have practical belief systems. Like most of the guys who are sitting here talking about, oh, nobody should be censored ever, oh, if you ban me on your channel, you're censoring me. They don't know what it's like to have a channel where someone comes on there and instead of addressing what you say, they say that you're gonna molest someone or do some other violent thing to somebody because you said something you don't agree with. It's like a lot of these guys, that's why I said people so seldom have empathy for something unless they've experienced it. Just like I don't want to get too much into that, but like with that Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, she had a feature on Twitter where only people she follows or mentions can respond to her post. And people were saying that that was censorship. And I was like, well, here's a lady that got sick of people. And I'm not weighing in on that, like my opinion, but it's like, here's a person who got sick of people online talking trash about her and like writing nasty stuff every time she'll post something. So you still have the right to see what she writes. You just can't write anything directly to her, which actually you still can. You just can't respond, on the post itself. But even a minor thing like that, where you still can talk trash about this person, you still can make a bunch of videos about this person. They call that censorship. And then some of them actually see getting like blocked or banned as like a victory. Like I'm supposed to do a stream, right? And somebody comes on there, writes all this nasty stuff about me, doesn't address anything I'm saying. And I go, okay, look, I'm tired of you stopping what we're addressing by writing this nonsense. It was a victory for me that I got banned by this person. Well, it's a victory. Why'd you come back with another account? That was slander, not free speech. What that person was saying about you. Yeah. And remember, it would be different if I came on here and said that that was something I was interested in doing because then they're responding to what I said. But it's kind of like if, let's say, you make a video about some movie you don't like, right? You say, I don't like this movie. If you like it, that's cool. I just don't like this film. And then I go, you probably wish that women would die of cancer. You're like, what the hell? And you want to get rid of that because you never said directly or indicated that was something you support. But according to them, right, a comment that infers you wanting to either have do something violent or have something violent happen to a person you never expressed that type of malice towards, you shouldn't be allowed to get rid of because my free speech. I tell you, they don't care even if it's the tiniest pushback. Like the smallest pushback on these websites makes these people just turn into complete crybabies about censorship and free speech. Like, oh, I got banned from this one person's channel because I was writing nasty stuff to them. I can still make a video about this person. I can still write comments on every other channel on this website that the majority don't have me banned because I'm not famous or like there's not a banning campaign. But my free speech. Yeah, that's what they sound like to me. Dude, people got mad because YouTube was going to take the dislike button off. And I'm like, well, think about this, right? The dislike button indicates that you don't like a video, right? So if you get rid of the dislike button, they say you're getting rid of their ability to show they dislike a video. But if they don't like a video, couldn't they just write that in the comment section? Because most news channels, it's been proven, don't regulate their comment sections. So let's say I do an interview with CNN, right? Dislike button's disabled. And the video has 10 likes. And in the comments, people are going, he's so stupid, he's so dumb. What is he even talking about? How did he ever get elected? You would look at that and you would say, how are these people being censored if they're able to convey their distaste toward this man in this particular video just because a button is not available to be publicly shown of how many of them pressed it? See what I mean? My free speech. Seriously, all the First Amendment right says is that you have a right to press and the government cannot jail you for speaking out against them. Hey, by the way, I just want to mention this. Um, Obama used the Espionage Act 6 times to jail journalists for exposing his war crimes. Like, that's real censorship, right? Where, you say something about a politician, right? And then you get put in prison for it. But it's like, contrast that with you go on the website, you say this nasty stuff about this person, and then your consequence is that you can't speak on one channel, right? My free speech. Dude, real censorship is what Obama did to those journalists, where they say something about him, and they're not just saying something about him; they're actually like showing proof of what they say too, and they get put in jail. So people online, if they get any pushback whatsoever, they fold like cards. Looks like Brandon went away. He disappeared. I mean, it's fine. People, they show up, they vanish. They have cameos. I just think it's really sad that like so many people have bought into this, that like the idea that you shouldn't be able to do anything against what people say about you on here. They should be able to say whatever nasty stuff, whatever libelous stuff, no consequence. And like I said, the way you know that this is what they want is that by coincidence, right? Every time a website has any pushback against what people are saying, they have a problem with it. YouTube for years, right? Conservatives have posted videos on here with their different ideologies. They start posting anti-vaccine stuff, which can get people killed if you spread misinformation about the virus and you have a very large audience. And then these videos get deleted, not the whole channel, just a few videos. I'm being censored, my free speech. Well, they weren't censoring you before when you posted videos for years on all these other topics, but now they're part of the censorship brand, really? You see how this is just a thing they're all doing? It's a pity party. Like I said, I think it's a more complicated issue than just every time a website does something about what someone said, my free speech. And that's pretty much what it's been flanderized into being, that, there shouldn't be any rules at all. Anyways, let me quickly address the comic stuff. Uh, I'm reading X-Men. I'm reading Roy Thomas's run on Uncanny, so that ends at issue 40 from on issue 40. They just got their new costumes because they all had the black and yellow ones. They fought Juggernaut for the third time. It was pretty cool. He actually was able to get Professor X's powers. Then there was a whole arc where Professor X was kidnapped by this group of 3 people. And then Batman '89 came out, the comic, not the movie. It's a sequel to Batman Returns, so it ignores Batman Forever and Batman and Robin a few weeks ago. I want to read it. It's online. I was busy like going through a bunch of issues of X-Men yesterday, so I'll try to read it today. It's just nice to see one of those universes being like picked up and continued in some form. Because a lot of people do have attachment to that specific iteration of the character, so it's nice to see their story continue. I wish they would do that with more of these like adaptations, like just make a comic about what happened to them after that. My free speech. But I hope you understand why the Discord snake, like that was the last straw. Because what happened was during that last week that I spoke to him, like a month or two before I made that video, um, he expanded on his censorship beliefs. Because before that, he would say, oh, this person has comments deleted. They're a coward. Oh, this person has likes and dislikes disabled. They're a coward. And it was always funny because it's like a guy who hides his face, who's such a pussy as to not be able to show what he looks like, should be the last person calling anybody a coward, you know? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to call somebody a coward because they disabled a function on a channel because they didn't feel like putting up with? I mean, my thing with the likes and dislikes is that I've seen multiple videos that people have made where someone will go, this video has more dislikes than likes. It's automatically bad. So I said, all right, well, I want people to decide for themselves if they like the video. So that was the justification for that. And then like the only stuff I disable comments on is the show. And it's, guys, I'm not going to work on a video for sometimes 4 months, sometimes 5, 6 months, depending on how long it takes voice actors to get stuff for me to sit down and edit it. Just for somebody to come on there and say, oh, this sucks. Like you can, if you make a video about the show, I won't delete it, but I'm not going to have my, like the stuff where the show is posted be host to people writing nasty stuff. It's unnecessary. But you get the idea that like these people really believe, and with him, it was at first just, oh, it's cowardly to have dislikes disabled or like comments disabled, right? It went from that to, oh, it's censorship, oh, free speech. I just couldn't take it. I said, I'm not going to talk to somebody who supports people having the right to harass me. So that was the end of him. Dude, imagine how crazy I would look, right? If I said, if someone comes to James's house, he shouldn't have the right to kick them out. He shouldn't have the right to ask them to take their shoes off. He shouldn't have any rights whatsoever. They should be able to come in there and do whatever they want. And if he tells them to leave, then he is censoring them. It's like, what the hell? If he says, I don't want to hear what you're saying, go somewhere else. They can still go to a bunch of other houses, hypothetically. You know, that's why I said it's like that weird stuff. But he wouldn't change his mind, so I decided to walk away. James, my free speech. I told you these people think you should be able, and you know that's why I said that. You know they don't like actually do this stuff in the real world. Like again, I've seen places where they say no shirt, no shoes, no service. You can go around with no shirt and shoes, just can't wear that in here and expect us to actually take your order. But you never would see somebody say my free speech. They would just put on a shirt and shoes and they come in there. Just like with that place I said that had the like multiple rules they wanted you to follow, like wear the black pants, have dress shoes, all that. It's like, yeah, you don't have to wear that stuff. You don't want to. You just have to wear it if you come in here. No, like they don't believe there should be any rules for any of this stuff. They think you should just run around and say, like, that's why I said they don't live in the real world. Because I've seen multiple places where they acknowledge if you want to come in here, there are certain rules you have to abide by. If you don't do these rules, you can go somewhere else and not do them. You just can't be in here. I'm sure you've seen the same thing, James. You go around to certain places, they have rules about what you should and shouldn't be able to do. That's why I said these people really piss me off because they're not like the stuff they're advocating for is not realistic. You know, it's really funny too because when they were saying the censorship stuff, there actually is a pretty big channel on here of this guy that covers celebrity news, and I don't remember who exactly it was, but there was a couple that he talked about. His channel is pretty big; it gets like tens of thousands of views a video. He talked about this couple. They sent him a cease and desist letter to where he can never make another video about them again. Again, I'll go and look and see if I can find like stuff about it, but they put up a cease and desist letter against this man over a YouTube video. And it's like, do I have to do that to get people to not say slanderous stuff about me? Like, I can't ban them, I can't report them because my free speech. So I have to like go through a legal process. That's censorship where you can't say like you are legally being threatened if you do another video about somebody. I really hope I find out who that was. They sent him a cease and desist letter over a video. Dude, imagine the developers of the Friday the 13th game when they were developing the game. The lawsuit started taking place, and they were sent a cease and desist letter. They can't make any new content for the game. Like they didn't cry, "Oh, my free speech, I'm being censored." It happens in real life, just not as often. Did you see people get kicked out of airplanes for not wearing masks? Videos, right? But I'm saying that there are places in real life where you have certain rules that you have to follow. And these people believe that because you're on the internet, you should be able to do whatever you want, say whatever you want about whoever, and there should be no consequence for it. Like they want a just anarchy system with free speech as far as the internet is concerned. And if they have any microaggression, right, any slight pushback, my free speech, just like YouTube told people last year, you can't make anti-vaxxer videos asserting things that are misinformation as the case. And then Rand Paul puts up a video where he's got some lunatic on there talking about masks aren't effective. His video gets yanked and he can't post videos for 1 week. Then he can come back and post all the videos he wants. Guess what he says? My free speech. But Brandon, I was asking James this: have you ever seen, and like you've seen this in real life, right? Where there's somewhere that like when you go in there, they say you have to wear this, or we won't serve you, or you won't be able to enter. Like you don't have to wear this stuff if you don't want to, but you won't be able to come in here if you don't wear this stuff. Have you ever seen that before? Because I've seen that plenty of times. Where there's places where they have like dress code regulations and like guidelines for etiquette. Like you don't have to do this stuff, but you have to do it if you come in here. So you can go anywhere else and not do this stuff, but if you come here, you have to follow these rules. Because a lot of these people really don't want rules. They don't want any laws at all, even if they're very minor ones, you know? I believe that any censorship will lead to the rise of more censorship. You better believe I was done with him after I was like, nope. No, that was the end of him. Like, there is no way in hell I'm about to talk to somebody that thinks people should, like, I should do a stream, and somebody comes in there saying all this nasty stuff about me, and I'm like, well, I would love to ban them, but YouTube won't let me. I just have to sit here and take it. James, my free speech. YouTube took down one video, and I've been censored, even though I can still make videos about every other topic. And if I want to talk about that one particular thing, I go to another website. I just think that's the most like hilarious, ironic thing ever, where people say they're being censored and then they're still able to like convey their opinion on something. Like, if you were so censored, how do you still like? You know what? In Saudi Arabia, right, with the women, you know, like we mentioned, they have to wear the head scarf, and so it's like they actually do have censorship over there. Like, they don't get triggered by microaggressions. They have legitimate censorship over there. Or with Sharia law, where women can't leave the house without being accompanied by a man, which, you know, it's like that's real stuff to actually sit there and say, oh, my free speech. But being blocked on one channel out of millions, or having one post deleted, not being able to post something for 1 week after violating a rule the website told you up front you could not violate, or else you would get in trouble. You know, like I think people they don't, you know, they pretend that stuff that is not that big of a deal is like this big, huge act of free speech deniance or whatever, or denying rather. I made a word, deniance. Can't go into a restaurant without a shirt. Yeah, but you know how insane these people are. If they got like any pushback on that, they would go, my free speech. I tell you, that's how you know these. They just like sit on the internet all day. I mean, it's in the Middle East, not in the U.S., so it doesn't count according to some people. Well, you know what? The internet is. Last time I checked, it doesn't have borders. So somebody that lives in Saudi Arabia or Pakistan or Israel, or, you know, any of these other countries, can still go on the same internet that you and I can go on. And I was just using that as an example of how there are actual things in real life people do to censor other people. So when you consider that, getting blocked on one channel on a website really is not that big of a deal. I don't know if you were here for this. We brought up how with Obama, he signed the Espionage Act and jailed journalists 6 times after they exposed his war crimes. Like, that's what real censorship looks like. You know, it's like you have someone who exposes the positions of a politician, the things they're doing overseas, and then they get put in jail over it. That's actual censorship. Getting banned on one channel on a website is not. My free speech. No, they never explain what to them is okay. It's all anytime a company or some business has a rule that disables a person being able to say something, it's always my free speech. Right? I'm just saying people don't apply censorship to themselves. They enjoy seeing other people they don't like getting censored. Okay, but this is my thing, right? It's like I defended Alex Jones when he got yanked off all those different websites, because I think there's a big difference between spreading misinformation about a shooting that already happened than there is a disease that, if enough people believe you, can actually harm them in real life. It was the same thing with Laura Loomer. She got deleted on Twitter. It's like the stuff they did is compared to what Trump did with the coup attempt that resulted in the death of several people. It's like I don't if you don't do this stuff by case basis, you basically say that every single thing a person does, no matter how it affects somebody in real life, oh, it's just a different opinion. It's like, no, this is an action that had a tangible, real world consequence. And that's totally different from somebody, just saying something another person doesn't like. That's why I said these people don't live in the real world. They don't want any rules. They want a lawless state. And you have liberals and conservatives who are insane enough to believe that stuff. Like I said, we asked that Catherine person 2 weeks ago, what do you define as censorship? No response. Because again, their action is anytime a company does the slightest pushback against somebody's speech, I'm being censored. Just like on BitChute, this one guy got his videos flagged like by these group of people, and BitChute responded by making his videos set up to where to see them you have to make an account, which is free. All you have to do is make an account and then you can watch his stuff, right? And you actually had some people were saying that was censorship. I was like, all you're so if someone, I mean, I guess by that logic, if somebody makes something that's only available on, let's say, Patreon, right behind a paywall, that's censorship too. I can't see this thing without paying for it. If somebody makes a movie and you can only see it by like paying to see it, like whether that's on on the like at a theater or on the computer, I'm being censored. All they did was make his stuff to where you have to have an account. I really don't see what the big deal with that is. Like making an account on one of these websites is usually free, and in that particular case, it was free. And yet people were saying that was censorship. I tell you, if they do the slide, they didn't even delete anything. Sometimes I do feel bad for these companies because like they cannot win no matter what tiny little action they take against. Like Rand violated the rules of this site, and the only thing they did was say you can't post a video on this channel for 1 week, and we're taking down this one video. He could post that video on any other website except this one. Oh, I'm censored. Right, it's not that serious. My free speech. I know this one person, they started doing streams on subscriber only mode, so you can only comment if you subscribe. And people were like, were criticizing. It's like, you're really gonna say you're censored because now when you come to my channel to write something on a stream, you have to click a button before you do it. Oh my God. They don't even again, any tiny little restriction, which sometimes doesn't even cost you any actual money, like just a little bit more time to say something. My free speech. As an American, if I'm visiting a different country, I will not bring my Western ideals right. They seem to think that the Constitution is like some international doctrine, like they don't have the First Amendment in Saudi Arabia or North Korea. But again, those are people I actually do, feel sympathetic toward because they're not sitting on the internet writing nasty stuff and then complaining when they get yanked. They are legitimately under oppressive regimes. And people over here complain like they live over there, about, oh, I'm being censored. Oh, I can't express my viewpoints, even though I'm doing that right now. You saw the one clown that said back in November that I run my channel like a dictatorship after we banned one person following them talking trash about me for almost an hour. I was like, you really would compare getting blocked on one channel out of millions to a country that won't even let you leave. You see how they do actually take this stuff very seriously. Like they take things that are very minor on the internet and compare it to major historical events or ongoing current topics. I get banned on one channel out of millions. My free speech. I can make a video about this person. I can write my comment about them on my channel. I can go on somebody else's channel and talk about it. But my free speech. I just think that is nuts. These computer clowns live in a different world. Well, they just don't believe in like any rules or laws. They want this completely lawless society. Even if it's minor laws, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be able to write something that can hurt another person's reputation, without any consequence. Because you don't have to post stuff on the internet. Like, if you go on Twitter, right, and you start saying stuff that the site doesn't like and they get rid of you, which it's really not that simple. They don't just like snap their fingers and you're gone like that. You can just post on other websites. Like when I felt like I was being censored on Twitter, I didn't claim, oh, my free speech is under attack. I just came back on here and posted stuff. And hell, that was different because that was getting like not being able to post anymore. With some of these people, they are still able to post stuff. They get one post deleted. My free speech. Might as well change your name to Kim Jong Un. Hey, they think I'm Mussolini. I got my little secret police arresting people. You said something about Justin, and they throw a little little chain at you. No, they don't want any rules. Complete law. They want society to be lawless, and they want the internet to be lawless. And again, the stuff on here really is pretty tame. Like, out of all the websites I've been to, the only one where I ever got in like actual trouble with like a penalty ever was Twitter. Like, I was on Wikipedia for 8 years, and the only thing people would do to me on there was like write nasty stuff on my talk page or like reverse and edit. Like, I didn't actually get punished by the site, like where they make it where you can't edit or anything. Because I didn't break any, like, it's really not hard to not violate the rules of websites. Again, people don't want rules. They want to be able to say whatever and do whatever. Since they know they wouldn't be able to do this stuff in real life, the internet is a place where they'll be able to say anything they want. Yeah. And if the internet gives them the slightest pushback, my free speech. I just think it's sad that like none of them ever give a defined position. It's just they got rid of something somewhere, so free speech is being censored. Plus, they can hide their faces. Well, we talked about that before, where it's like, both of the guys are writing nasty about the way I looked on that last stream, hide their faces. And that's not a coincidence. It's simply a matter of people want to say gross things about you when they are like, make all these bad observations, when we can make the very clear observation that they're ashamed of themselves, because why else would they hide their faces? So the internet has like the biggest just cowards in the world. They hide their faces. They all try to, I had one guy who was like, oh, you have a punchable fist. Like, I was like, punch me. You pussy. Like, everybody on here tries to sound so strong. It's really weird. And then it's like, they try to sound strong, but then they get really offended and hurt very easily. Like, how are you going to sound like some internet tough guy? And then, oh, they deleted one of my posts. My free speech. It's like how do those two things correlate? No, I just think that thing with Tony is so sad. It's like I really sat here. They sound like children. Yeah, they do. But I really sat here and let this guy post stuff about me, including directly to me. And then you find out that that person, after you supposedly ended their conflict with you, changed their name on their accounts. They come back and try to message you again. I just think that's really sad because it's like, what's the point of actually listening to your detractors if they're not actually going to stick to their position? They're just going to go and first say something nasty, then make it seem like they're cool with you, and then after a few months come back and try to be an antagonist again. It's like that's why the stream is called that. What was the point? Just I don't get it. It's weird to me. They sound like children, more like idiots. Maybe it's just dumb children. That's the best way to refer to them as. Yeah, when he left his comment in March about, oh, you wallow in self pity, I really thought he was gonna stop watching me. You know what I had to say to that? I'm gonna quote this one guy. I mentioned this argument on Discord a couple of times. Someone mail me a box of tissues, a pussy unsubbed, I'ma quit. Why can't people just leave? Like, oh, this person doesn't make stuff I like, then just go. But if they do go, they have to leave a resignation speech. Oh, I've decided to stop watching you because of this reason and that reason and this reason and that reason. That is like a real fun social experiment we've had where like I'm purposely banning as few people as possible to see if they actually leave. That's the only reason that you're not seeing more and more people get yanked, because I'm just trying to see who actually is going to leave. Like, who's really going to be a one and done. I'm going to write something nasty, I'm going to vanish. But like I said, this is the romance comic book. And after they submitted the resignation letter, yes, I told you, there was a bimbo who in June of 2018, during my stream, my best friend said she wouldn't watch me again because I was so rude, blah, 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 blah. December of the next year, writes another comment trying to like mock me over how many people are watching. Because like apparently you need to have 1 million people watch you every stream for some reason. And then I'm like, okay, this person's gone now, whatever. They come back in March of this year. I'm like, go away. It's been almost 3 years and you still keep coming back. Even if it's infrequent, why don't you leave? Gave a whole resignation speech. I will never watch you again because of how rude you, and then showed up twice after that. Multiple years afterward. Dude, it even happens in real life too. I had a guy I used to talk to when I was in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And then we got into an argument when I was in 10th grade with him. It was like him and his friend where people try to be offended for someone else, like you don't directly insult them, but they're insulted for their buddy. And then like right around the time I had that one romance video get to 200,000 views, he shows up. He's like, I knew you would get big. I was like, can you go? Like, you made the decision to not speak to me anymore. What, 4 years ago? Like, go get out of here. You, your time of reconciliation has passed. They really can't like go away. Just like do you, I don't know if you remember, James. There was a broad that kept coming on my channel and was like, "I wonder if you remember. I used to hang out with this guy after school." I was like, "This is 5 years ago. Why are you here?" God, man, it's strange to me. And then there was that Dudley person I went to school with and hadn't spoken to either in like again 5 years, and they just keep popping up. Like, what do you what do you want? Yeah, I went to school with him in 11th grade in 2015, and then again never looked back. That was it. And then several years later, here I am. Remember me? Like, no, I don't. I wish they were random. Again, I don't bother any of these people, and they just keep popping up. I don't say anything to any of them, and they return. Well, that's normal. If you get a lot of views on one video, they'll come back. No, no, James, I'm saying that they have shown up after that particular video and have continued to appear recurringly. And I was saying that's weird because these are people that in real life I had no association with after I left the school and keep like I've seen both of them multiple times. No, the guy that got mad at me or like got upset for his friend or whatever that I used to talk to in seventh, eighth, and ninth grade, he showed up on one of my videos and then like vanished after that. But it was still weird because it was like this is a person who you claim to be done with, you're never going to talk to again, and then here you are on their channel. I was saying that was like a real life version of the stuff that these guys do. Like that broad showed up on in 3 different calendar years, twice after. Excuse me, she showed up 3 times, twice after saying she was never going to watch me again or was done or what. It's like just go. Dude, she's like Barricade from Transformers, where he was in the first one, then he wasn't in the second one, then he was in the third one. Then I don't think he was in the fourth. Then he was in the fifth one. It's like, what is this? That's her. Just these like big extended absences just to reappear. No, you know what? She's like Jackal because he's in the Clone Saga, the original one from the 70s. He dies, and then he's like just gone, right, for 20 years. Then he comes back in the new Clone Saga, the one that is like more well known for the 90s. Then he dies in that. Then he's gone for like another 20 years. Then Spider Island happens with Dan Snot, and then he like reappears. That's her. She's Jackal with these long extended absences. Remember me? It's like, unfortunately. I'm just sick of these recurring villains. I don't know. I just think it's weird to like completely disassociate with someone in real life and then, oh, look, you have a couple of subscribers on YouTube. Let me come and say something to you. It's like, can you go? Thank you. I don't do this to anybody. Like, I don't remember the handles. I remember certain people's names, right? But I never looked them up on social media, including all the chicks I've ever asked out. Because again, once they say no, I don't care about them anymore. You know, like I'm interested in forwarding my best interest. It's just like with voice actors. Like once they jump off of my project, I don't care about them anymore. That's why it's weird to have these people who like seemingly adhere to the same system of once we no longer go to school together, I don't care. And then, oh, now I care. Let me show up again. Let me reappear. That was funny where that guy, like, when I was in ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th, and 12th, anytime somebody asked me for my number, even if it was someone I wasn't particularly close to, I would give it to them. So these people had the chance to keep up with me back when I went to school with them and chose not to, and then for whatever reason have decided to, make an attempt at this point. It's really weird, man. It's strange. No, seriously, when I was in high school, there wasn't a single person that asked me for my number that I turned down ever in real life. I'm not talking about some people on the computer where, just being weird. Like in real life, there was not a single individual that asked me for my number that I was like, oh no, go away. So that's why it's like these people had a chance to speak to me and then all of a sudden are having these weird cameos and reappearances and like, what is this? No, they like make doing this stuff where they keep showing up over and over. And again, I don't get rid of them more often than not because I really do want to see if they actually like won't show up again, like will stay gone. So it's like it's a social experiment. Because I was getting those nasty comments on that one video. I was like, yeah, I'm not playing this game. And that's what I think is really disturbing. People believe that if you're online, you're like supposed to put up with any nasty thing that's said to you, and I just don't see how that's fair. But look, I'm gonna get off of here. Thanks for watching. I'll stream again on Monday, of course. I'll try to do another DBD video since people apparently like that. Um, if you, I'm gonna probably try to put a thumb up thing at the start because people apparently aren't clicking the like button because that's too hard. Um, Thanks, James. Thanks, Brand. We're gonna call you that instead of your actual name. Thanks, Akatsuki Merchant. So, have a good rest of your Saturday, and I'll put some more stuff up this week.